These are some of my Faceless Instagram pages. I've grown to hundreds of thousands of followers, and I discovered the easiest way to monetize a Faceless Instagram page. Now, it actually worked so well for me that I bought my dream car just age 17. I'm not saying that to flex. I'm showing you this so that you know I actually got real results. And most pages fail to monetize when it comes to Instagram. Maybe they try digital products, which they just can't convert or get any sales with. You try sponsorships, but it's inconsistent and people don't pay enough for it. Or maybe you try some crappy affiliate link, which, you're getting a low commission, low conversion rates. It just doesn't work very well. And so, what is the easiest way to monetize? I'll tell you right now, the easiest way to monetize is with what's called a newsletter. So I've tried this. I've actually tried the other stuff as well, and the other stuff has worked well for me. Like I've launched single digital products where I've made multi five figures, like 20, 30, $40,000 from single digital products. But I've also made a lot with newsletters when it comes to my page, right? And so I've done it pretty much all. I would say the easiest way to monetize it with a newsletter. And so with a newsletter, the power of it is that you get to own your audience, and I'll break down how you can monetize in a second. But when it comes to owning your audience, you have to understand if you have 100,000 Instagram followers, you might post a video and only get 2 or 3,000 views. Are those 100,000 Instagram followers really yours? No, they're Instagram's. Instagram owns them, right? And you have to depend on the algorithm to push you out to them. On the other hand, if you have these people's emails, you can literally just reach them directly to your inbox, right? And so that's probably the number one reason why this just works so much better, is because you actually own your audience. So that's the number one thing above everything else. Now, I'm actually going to break down in a second how to actually monetize it. But just so you understand what a newsletter is you collect people's emails and then you send them out emails to their inbox. It's really that simple. Don't overcomplicate it. And I'm going to break down how you can monetize it. Real quick, just so you know, though, this video is not going to be some crappy email gotcha video like, you're not behind, why everyone seems to have more money than you. And then he's just like, oh, you're missing out on this special 2025 opportunity. You need to buy my course and I'll help you make $10,000 in your first 30 days. It's not going to be one of those videos. I'm actually just going to help you out here. So drop a like on the video and continue watching. So the first way, and probably I would say the best way to monetize a page is to sell a digital product. Now, to a newsletter. Now, you might have tried, if you have a page, digital product before, or someone else might have tried a digital product and told you like, oh, digital products don't work. Now, digital products, they don't work if you don't nurture your audience first. If you just go and straight up try to sell to your audience, straight up on your Instagram page, selling a digital product won't work. You'll get very low conversion rates, almost no sales, and it just won't really work out for you very well, right? However, if you nurture your audience first, so for example, you nurture them with emails and you then sell to them, it absolutely changes everything. So just so you can understand this, right? With one of my pages, that was a digital product I tried quite a few months ago. It was quite a while ago, right? And so the digital product, when I first did it, it was a very cheap one. It was $8.99, so very, very cheap. And when I first launched it from my page, it did horrible conversion rates. I literally was getting like 0.5% conversion rate on my page. That was like a sales page for it. And I was like, man, this just isn't working. I was converting 0.5% of people, right? So I'd have to get 200 people on the site to just get even one sale. It was not working very well. I implemented a newsletter before where I send people emails with an automated email sequence through the emails and stuff. And from that 0.5% conversion rate, I took it to a 7% conversion rate. So a 14x. Imagine that 14x. That's like going from $1,000 a month to $14,000 a month. That's the difference. And so selling a digital product works very well through emails. And you can sell a load of different stuff. Like this is, for example, Luke, someone I'm helping right now with this page, and he sells a digital product like this. It's a creator pack because people want to know how he edits his videos. So it's just an editing tutorial. If you had a gym page, I actually have a gym page myself. You could do a course on how to get a six pack or a course on how to grow your shoulders. If you had a page about finance, right, you could do like a finance tracker that you could sell as a digital product. You can be creative with it. A digital product is just a product which is digital that you sell to people. Now, the reason I like digital products so much compared to a lot of other stuff is a number of reasons. First of all, incredibly high profit margins. So with a lot of other stuff that people do, like for example, people might try to sell a physical product like drop shipping or something from their page. You make $100, but then how much of that do you actually keep in profit after all you're spending, right? You're spending on, shipping the product and buying and delivering and all that stuff. A digital product, you just sell it, you keep 100% of the money except for like transaction fees. The other nice thing about digital products compared to other forms of monetization, so a lot of other forms of monetization when it comes to people's pages, they're only one-time revenue, right? So a lot of people, when it comes to monetizing an Instagram page, they think whatever they're doing, right? They think that, oh, okay, for me to make more money from my page, I need to just get more people, more sales of my digital product, more sponsorships, more this, and that, right? Need more customers, right? With however you're monetizing. When actually one of the best ways to monetize isn't even to get more customers, it's to make more money from the customers you currently have. And so the nice thing about selling digital products, especially through emails, is that you could sell people multiple times. You could, for example, sell like a monthly subscription kind of product. You could sell, for example, when you go to a restaurant, right? They sell you a steak, and then what do you do once you've eaten the steak? You get a dessert, right? And so you could like upsell people into other products that they might be interested in, and things like that, right? So digital products work very good, if you can figure them out. And like I said, your conversion rates will be so much better, drastically better, if you do it with emails. Now, the second best way to monetize your newsletter, I shouldn't actually say second best because I'm not ranking these or anything. By the way, throughout this video, if you have any questions, leave a comment. I try to reply to every single one. The second way to monetize your newsletter, which I'm not saying it's the second best, just the second way, is with promos. So a lot of people, there's this negative stigma around promotionals, doing promos and sponsorships and stuff with your Faceless Instagram page, and that's because for the forever, for the longest time, people have done promotions and sponsorships, and they get paid almost nothing for it. Like, you could have like 100,000 followers on your page, you do a promo, and the most that the people are willing to pay is like $100, like literally like 100 or $200, and it's like nothing, right? It's like you don't want to be constantly spamming your page with a bunch of promos, and then so you don't really do that much. Maybe you do 5 promos in a month, and with 100,000 followers, you're only making $500 a month from that, which is like nothing, right? Which, I mean, it's still good, right? But it's for 100,000 followers, you should be making a lot more. And so there's always been this negative stigma around promos, just with monetizing a Faceless Instagram page, where promos just don't work, you don't get paid enough, etc., etc. If you incorporate a newsletter, they do. So let me tell you and show you a story here. So this account right here, called AI Innovations Hub, this guy, the guy who runs this is someone called Nick. And so when I first got in contact with him to help him with his page and stuff with monetizing it, he was making like a decent-ish amount, right? I don't want to disclose any details, because I haven't asked him for permission for that yet. So I don't want to disclose any details on how much he's making exactly and stuff. But it wasn't, all I'll say is it wasn't that great for how many followers he had. He had like 180,000 followers, I believe, at the time. And so he was getting like a couple promotional posts. And the issue was these promotional posts were paying almost nothing really, especially for how many followers he had. Now, the reason that is because he has, hundreds of thousands of followers. If you look at his videos will get hundreds of thousands of views, sometimes millions of views. But whenever he would do a promotional post, people aren't interested in watching a promotional post. So what would happen is like an AI company, because this page is in the AI niche, would come to him and they're like, yo, can we promote our thing on your page? We'll do this post and we'll pay you this much. So they'd make the video, they'd send it to him, he'd just post the video. And because the video was so much different compared to his other videos, it was promoting something, so people didn't like watching it. And whenever you're trying to sell something to people, they're just going to skip through it. They're not going to actually watch the video really. And so the video would perform so bad. When his regular videos would get hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of views, his promotional videos would sometimes get like only 10, 15, 20,000 views. And so from the brand's perspective, the brand doesn't want to pay him that much, because if they pay him that much, there's so much risk associated with that, right? There's so much risk around, okay, so we're going to pay you, but like we don't know how the video is going to perform. Your views are very inconsistent when it comes to promotional posts compared to your regular posts. And so they don't want to pay like thousands of dollars for a promotional post when there's that risk associated with it. And then also, you have to think about it like this, right? The people who might be interested in that, they might not even see the video if he posts it, which is why, like I said, a newsletter is so powerful, because you own your audience. And this is why when you incorporate the newsletter for promotions, doing it from your page, and you can do it like as a bundle package, but just doing a promotion where you post a video on your page or you post a story on your page is nothing compared to how much you can make doing a promotion or an ad or something like that from your email, right? And like literally with my email, I did almost $2,000 from just one email with an ad in it. Just one email. Now, my email list at the time when I did that ad was very, very big, so you might not make exactly that much, but you get the point. You can make way more like that. And so the whole thing, I said to him, I was like, dude, okay, sure, all the other forms of monetizing with the newsletter will be great, but one of the best things we can do here is these sponsorships you're getting, you could literally 5 or 6, 7x your price and go from, charging these people a couple $100 to charging them like over 1,000 to almost 2,000 sometimes if your newsletter is big enough for a promotional post. Now, like I said, if you get, and this is the newsletter obviously that we put together. Now, by the way, I don't want to take credit for his page or anything, because he built his page to the hundreds of thousands of followers. I didn't help with building the page. I only helped with the newsletter. Just want to be clear. I don't want to take any credit for that where credit's not due, but I did help with the newsletter. So, um, when it comes to the newsletter, which here you can see he's got, now he's able to charge way more for these same promotional posts. And like I said earlier, if you do, 5 promotional posts and you're getting paid $200 for it, it's not that much. You don't want to do too many promotional posts and spam your followers. Whereas with this, you could do just a few. Let's say you're getting paid 1.5K for one promotional thing, right? One sponsorship, promotion, whatever you want to call it. 1.5 thousand for that. Even if you just do 5 of these in a month, right? That's $7,500, which is pretty good, right? It's not like life changing money. It's nothing crazy, but that's pretty good, right? And so promos actually work very well with the newsletter. Now, another way of monetizing your page is boosts. Now, real quick, if you want help with growing your page, growing a successful page and monetizing, I have a private community. You get a community, you get one-on-one support from me with calls, you get 24/7 access to my DMs and stuff, and full training videos and full courses all breaking this down. All I'll say is this: if you find my YouTube videos helpful, imagine how much better my community stuff will be. So if you're interested, top link in the bio. And if you have a big page, DM me on Instagram. But boosts. So you've probably heard a lot about boosts if you watch my channel often. You probably kind of already know what they are. If you don't know what boosts are, though, boosts are essentially a way where you have your newsletter, right? And you obviously want to gain subscribers to your newsletter, but then you also have all these other subscribers all these other boosts, all these other newsletters who want to gain subscribers to theirs, right? And so when people subscribe to your newsletter, right, they go to your page and it's like enter your email, click subscribe and stuff like that. There will be a pop-up once they subscribe to yours, a square pop-up like this, which says you just subscribed to Mark's newsletter. Mark also recommends this newsletter called the Independent Newsroom, this newsletter called the Bluebird Brief, and you can just click a check mark there and subscribe to these other newsletters. And then when you subscribe to those other newsletters will pay you for gaining them a new subscriber. Very, very simple, and it works pretty well, right? So you can have up to 5 different newsletters you recommend or like promote there, and you can see this one's paying $2.40 per subscriber, this one's paying $4. These are more high-end paying ones. On average you're going to get like $2, so let's say $2, 5 of them. If one person subscribed to all 5, you could get paid $10 for one subscriber. Now it's very rare that you'll actually get paid $10 per subscriber, because there's so many different things that go into it, like how many do they subscribe to, verification rates, demographics of where they're from. There's some things like that, but you can get paid like money when people just subscribe to your newsletter for free, and which is just insane, right? People don't even have to pay you and you make the money. It sounds like unreal, right? Um, and so newsletter boosts, they work well. And for a long time, right, I made a lot of money with newsletter boosts, like multi 5 figures, like 30,000 plus months with the boost, right? I did very well with them. So you can see here, for example, like this was like $10,000, well, 9.5K in just a single week I did. And then also technically it was 16,000 if you include the pending revenue, but 16,000. The point is it made a lot of money. Now with boosts, when I first ever did emails, I was so focused on boosts just because they're the easiest, they're the simplest. Out of all of these, selling digital products, promos, and then the one I'm going to talk about here in a second, boosts are the easiest and they're the simplest because you don't have to do anything. You don't have to really know how to write emails. People just subscribe and that's it, right? So they are the easiest, but they're not actually the one that's going to make you the most amount of money if you do it correctly. Like you'll make so much more from digital products or promos compared to just boosts. Now boosts are nice and they make you some extra cash, but kind of think about it like extra cash on the side almost. Don't really focus on boost as the main thing, and that's actually a mistake I made when I started out. I just focused on, oh, boost, man, this is making so much money, this is so great, and I neglected all that other stuff. Like I was building like tons of email subscribers, and I wasn't really monetizing them on the back end very effectively when I could have been doing so much more. And you can see here, it's just boost work very well though, so you could definitely implement them. Now, there's a few different not every email platform has boosts. There is like Beehive, for example, is one that you could do it on, and then there is 2 more. So just being completely honest, I am gatekeeping those 2 because I don't want anyone else finding out about them, except for people who I'm actually helping with their pages and stuff. But there is 2 other platforms that you could implement the same thing on. So it's not just Beehive if you've seen videos about that in the past. So the 4th way to monetize your newsletter is to exit your newsletter. Now, stick with me here, right? Because this is really exciting stuff. And this is actually something I only found about recently in the past like month or so, right? And because I never really considered it before that. So in business, if you don't know, to exit something basically is just a fancy term which means to sell something, right? So it's like, oh, we this last June we exited our company for $50 million. All that means is we just sold our company for $50 million. It just means to sell your company, right? You sell it to someone else and you're no longer a part of it. It's no longer yours, right? You're exiting out of it. And so to exit a newsletter, you can actually sell a newsletter for a very good amount of money. And this is something I never even really considered until recently. A guy I know, his name is Anthony, and he does, like Faceless page, builds a newsletter. He sold his newsletter. All I'll say is, he sold it for 6 figures plus, which means 6 figures is 100,000 to 999,000. So it was on the lower end of 6 figures, but he sold it for 6 figures plus, so over $100,000. I'll give you a second to process that. I know it sounds insane, right? To sell a newsletter for $100,000, and he built it with a faceless page, right? So when it comes to building a newsletter, once you build it, you can sell it, and these people will buy it for a lot. So if you're wondering like who do I even sell it to? So generally, when you're selling companies or businesses or things like these, you sell them to what's called. So you can sell them to like an investor. You could sell them to an individual person. You could sell them to like a startup company. So for example, he had a AI newsletter that's built around AI, and he sold it to a company who was a startup AI company. So they were trying to build their own AI software or something along those lines, and so they were going to use the newsletter to promote their own software, right? But you could sell it to a private equity firm, which just means it's a firm who buys businesses. So point is though, it's not a very complicated process even really. There's literally websites where you can go on, you can like list your newsletter, and then people can see it and they can go through and be like, oh yeah, I want to buy this one. Maybe I want to buy this one, things like that. So with 6 figure offers, you can genuinely get 6 figure offers. A lot of it though depends on how valuable is your newsletter. So what they'll do is they'll evaluate the value of your newsletter. So if you have 10,000 subscribers, what they'll do is they'll see, okay, how much are these subscribers worth? So like, how much are we going to pay per subscriber? And they will estimate this a lot based on what niche it's in. So if your newsletter is in the AI niche compared to a newsletter in, I don't know, a random niche, let's say cooking food, they're going to pay so much more for an AI niche compared to a cooking food one, because this is all about business, making money, promoting AI companies. It's just more, like that. They'll generally pay more for those kind of niches. So niche is important. But then also the big ones is like, what are the statistics around your newsletter? So what is the email open rate? You might have 10,000 people, but if your email rate open rate is only 10%, you can only reach 1,000 people there on that list. Whereas if your email rate is 70%, you can reach 7,000 people on that list. What's more valuable there, right? So there's a lot of factors that go into it like that, where you might get paid $1 per subscriber. You on the high end might get paid like $5-6 per subscriber, right? So there's some range in that. So let's say you had like a newsletter with 10,000 subs, you could sell that anywhere from 10,000 to $50,000 if you did it right, right? And it was all done well. I've never done this myself, but I think I'm considering building towards this. And there's even a page which I'm working with right now, which we're considering and talking about this option. And we're estimating right now with the page, he has a little bit over $100,000. We're estimating, we're still talking through it, with nothing official yet, but we're estimating that if we were to sell it now, we could sell it for like 70 to 80 grand for an exit or something like that. So there's a lot of power in that. So like I said, the big thing here though is the statistics around your email list, because an email list with a 10% open rate versus a 70% open rate is completely different valuation there. So you want to make sure you're keeping your open rate, your click through rate, all that stuff high. But yeah, now back here, right, where I said, by the way, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, because the next video is going to be a banger. So back here, right, where I said, I made like 10 grand almost, well, 9.5 grand or 16 grand if you take the pending revenue, but whatever, made a very good amount here with this. This was, like I said, with the boosts. Now, if you want a more in-depth breakdown specifically on how I was actually able to make this 10 grand with the newsletter, I'll put up a video right here on the screen. You can click on that video and go and watch it. And that video will break it all down in detail, show you how I actually did that. So yeah, go watch that video and subscribe to the channel. Really hope you found this video valuable. I try to make my videos as valuable as possible, so we're not doing some Imangaji scam stuff over here. Because your time is worth it and valuable. So anyways, enough yapping. Hope you found this video useful, and yeah, see you later.